Okay, since we got our technical difficulties finally settled, we can get back to the recording here. We've got a lot of different directions we can go with this. I guess it doesn't really matter. H, J, or X, which one do you want to find first? C is the only one we cannot find first. We want to find J. Okay, let's find J here. So to find J, we're looking at this triangle. What do we know about that triangle?
21.5
So this is 20 feet, which is half of the 40, plus the 18 inches, which is 21.5 feet on bottom. Yep. 9/12 slope. Okay. So then we know that 9 over 12 equals, if I call this B here, B over 21.5. And if we cross multiply and divide, we get that B is equal to 15 point what?
Oh, I got 16.
Is it 16? 16 point what? 0.125. Okay. So that's 16.125 for B. So then J here is the square root of 16.125 squared plus 21.5 squared, which comes out to be what? 26.875 exactly feet. So that is 26 feet, 10.5 inches. 7/8 of a foot, by the way, is 10.5 inches, if you haven't memorized that one. I don't expect you to have that one memorized, but the 1/3, 1/4, 1/2, 2/3, 3/4, those I would expect you to have memorized by now, or at least coming close to it. So there's J. What's next? It's either X or H. Like I said, C cannot go first. X. Okay, so X, we're going to need this triangle for X, because that bottom of that has X in it. This is still 9/12. Do we know this side here? Do we know this side here? Do we know this side here? Yes. We don't know it directly, but we know this whole thing here is 7'7", and this is 28 inches, right? So this is 7'7" minus 28 inches is 2 feet and 4 inches. So 7 minus 4 is 3 inches. 7 minus 2 is 5 feet. So that is 5 feet 3 inches, or 5.25 feet. So we then have 9 over 12 equals 5.25 over X. Cross multiplication, 12 times 5.25 is 63. Divided by 9 is 7. X is 7 feet. Which means C is 26 feet. Good. It's 40 minus 7 minus 7. So all that's left is H. To find H, we need this triangle right here. What do we know about that triangle? This one right here. You know, the bottom is 20. Why is it 20? Half to 40. It's 9/12. You're confused, Tate.
I can't do it that way.
So here's our triangle right there. Right. So that's just half the span. So let's call this side A. So we've got 9 over 12 equals A over 20. Makes A 15, right? Add the 2 feet 4 inches to that. So that means it is 17 feet 4 inches. Where'd the 2 feet 4 inches come from? 28-inch heel height. What you think? Oh yeah. Okay, I'm gonna let you guys take a quick break. Let's try to keep it down to like 6 or 7 minutes. Then we'll start up with our second half here. I'm just gonna pause this rather than end. Here we go. So the one I've put up here to try now to start off our second hour. This is what's called a dual slope truss. And you can see obviously why it's a dual slope truss is because the 2 top chords are not at the same slope. So we have 2 different slopes here. And notice I gave you the overall span and that's it. I want you to find X and Y and the height. Well, this is going to go back to what we learned at the end of last semester with our systems of equations. First thing we know, equation number 1, is that X plus Y has to equal 40. Now the problem is there are how many variables here? How many variables here? There's X, Y, and H. There are 3 variables, which means we are going to have 3 equations. So equation 2 is going to relate H to one of those other ones, or all 3 of them together. Unfortunately, there's no way you can relate all 3 of them at the same time. But there is a relationship between H and X. What did I just do there? I'm looking at this triangle here, which has a 1612 slope. Here's H, here's X, and that's 1612 slope. So 16 over 12 equals H over X. Now remember, the cross products here have to be equal. So if I cross multiply this way, I got 12 times H. If I cross multiply this way, I've got 16 times X. Now I want to solve this for X. How do I know I want to solve it for X? Because I'm going to use that to replace the X up here eventually. So to solve for X, I have to do what? I'm going to divide by 16. So 12 over 16 is actually 3/4. So it's 3/4 H equals X. So that's equation 2. My third equation is going to have to involve what 2 variables have not been paired together yet? H and Y. That would be this triangle that deals with H and Y. Here's H, here's Y, and this is a 412 slope. So we know that 4 over 12 equals H over Y. Hold on, what do you need? I took this triangle right here. And in that triangle, I do it right here. The height is H, the bottom is Y, right? So H and Y. Slope is 412. Okay. So it's just 4 over 12 equals H over Y. I'll give you a second to catch up. You bet. Got her? So now again, our cross products, just like we did over here. H times 12 is 12H equals 4 times Y is 4Y. What do you think we're going to solve for? Because I want to know what we're going to solve for. Yeah, you're right, it's Y. Sorry, bad joke. So divide the 4 out to get Y by itself. 12 divided by 4? 3, so it's 3H. So there's my equation 3. Now what am I going to do with these equations? I'm going to go back to equation 1 here that was X plus Y has to equal 40. But now I know that X is what? And I know that Y is 3h. That equals 40. So then I have 3/4 h and 3h, which combine to make 3 3/4 h equals 40. What do you think I'm going to do next? Yeah, it's 3 3/4 times h equals 40, so I'm going to divide by 3 3/4. H equals, what is 40 divided by 3 3/4? What's that? 10 2/3. So h is 10 foot. 10 foot 8 inches is h. So 10 foot 8 inches is going to go up here for our h. We still got to find x and y. But we know that x right over here, x is 3/4 times h, right? So it's 3/4 times 10 2/3. What is 3/4 times 10 2/3? Careful. I get 7, I get 8 actually. So 0.75 times, just to make sure I'm correct here. And it is 8. So x equals 8 feet. What do you think we're going to do for y? Now we could just do 40 minus 8 gives us y is 32. We know y is going to be 32. But I'm going to double check it. 3 times h equals y. So 3 times 10 2/3 equals y. What is 3 times 10 2/3? 32. So it does check, double check. So y is 32, which is what it had to be. What do you think?
Not terrible.
More fun than a barrel of monkeys?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I don't know about that. Oh, man. You get sepsis for sure.
A barrel of rabid monkeys?
Yeah. Oh, rabbit monkey. Which thinks monkeys are so fun? One monkey is fun. One monkey is fun. A bunch of monkeys. You may as well have a bunch of bears.
So once again, we are looking to find h, x, and y. And yes, we are going to be solving a system of equations again. What does equation number 1 look like? Equation number 1 is always going to be dealing with the span. You got it. X plus y equals 42. Equation number 1. Equation number 2, we are going to deal with x. So we're going to deal with this triangle right here, green one. What do we know about Mr. Green Triangle there? It has an 18 over 12 slope. What else do we know? The height is what? H, and this run is x. So that gives us
18 over 12 equals 8 over x.
You got it. And then we are going to cross multiply here. H times 12 is what? 12h equals 18 times x is 18x. Now what are we going to solve for? X. Because we've got an x up here that we want to replace x and y with h in both of those, right? So we're going to actually divide by 18, right? So that's gone. X equals 12 over 18 is actually 2/3 h. So x equals 2/3 h. That's my equation number 2. Equation number 3 is going to deal with y. And I'm going to use this triangle right here for y. What do we know about that triangle? .312 slope. H and y, which of course will give us what? Okay, and then so now we cross multiply. H times 12 is 12h. 3 times y is 3y. And then solve for y by doing, we divide by 3. So y is equal to 4h, or 4h is equal to y. And then we go back to equation number 1. X plus y equals 42. What does x become in that equation? 2/3 h. What does y become in that equation? 4h. And then we combine 2/3 h and 4h make 4 2/3 h. And then divide by 4 2/3. So h equals, what is 40 divided by 4 2/3? 9. So h is 9 feet. I'm going to pause there. Let me know when you've got everything down, and we'll go back up and put 9 in our triangle. Good? Jake, you good?
Yep.
So h is 9. 9 feet of height. Now we come back here. X is 2/3 times h. 2/3 times 9 is 6. X is 6 feet. Y is 4h. 4 times 9 is 36. That's 36 feet. Do those add up? Yes, they do. That's not so bad, is it? No, not at all.
No, it's not so bad. You just gotta, once again, it's all about steps.
Mm-hmm.
The math is easy enough.
It's all about the math. You were upset enough when they mixed the alphabet in with your soup? What? So let's put this at 16 feet here. This is going to be at 38 feet here. I want to find, I'm going to call this X. I'm going to call this H. Now, we could find the length. I've left this off for this last problem. Finding, this is obviously going to be J1 and J2 because the top chords are going to be different lengths. I'm going to assume you guys can find those since we got, this is just going to be the square root of 6 squared plus 9 squared here. We got 6 and 9. And the same here. This one's going to be the square root of 36 squared plus 9 squared. I'm assuming you guys can do that part, right? Same thing's going to happen here. There's going to be a similar thing. We're not going to do the chord lengths because I'm assuming you guys can do the a squared plus b squared equals c squared. We're just going to find h and x here because those are the difficult things to find. I'll let you guys go back to those other pieces. Now, what I'm going to do to make this easier is I am going to define a dimension y. even though it wasn't given, because this now allows me to make an equation that says x plus y plus 16 equals 38. Now, before I go any further, you guys see where the x plus y plus 16 comes from? Just adding up my pieces across the bottom here. Before I go any further, I'm going to subtract 16 from both sides. So I get that x plus y equals 22. So there's my equation 1. I can find h directly here. What's h have to be? Eight over 12 equals h over 16. And by cross multiplying and dividing, we get 10 2/3 for h, right? So h is 10'8". With me so far? Okay. So now we've got this triangle here that's going to define x. At this point, I'm just writing stuff down to see what I come up with. Just full disclosure. And then we'll look to see what fits together. So this is a 412 slope. I know this is x. I'm going to define this to be a over here. So this right here I'm going to call a. So that's going to give me the relationship 4 over 12 equals a over x. And as I cross multiply, a times 12 is 12a. 4 times x is 4x. I'm going to leave that like that because I'm not sure whether I want to solve that for a or for x. I could solve it for x and get 22, I suppose. You know, the x plus y to get 22. But we're going to hold off for just a minute. Next, I'm going to look at this triangle right here. So we're looking at 3 here, and we're looking at that triangle. I know that is an 812 slope. What do I know? I know the bottom of it is what? What I defined to be y, right? I'm going to call this b. So that means this piece here is b. So that gives me 8 over 12 equals b over y. So I multiply that way. What's b times 12? 12b. What's 8 times y? 8y. So I have that equation. Now I could substitute those in up here to equation number 1. Remember, equation number 1 was x plus y equals 22 after we subtracted out that 16. If I substitute those in, I'm going to divide this by 4, right? To get x equals 3a. Does that make sense? See what I did there? I took the 12a equals 4x. I divided by 4 to get x equals 3a. So this is now 3a where the x is. What would I do here? Divide by 8 to give me 1.5b equals y. So I'd replace y with 1.5b equals 22. The problem is we still have 2 different variables there, a and b. Cannot combine those yet. Because there's a 4th variable here. We have x, y. We've also got a, b. There's h sitting here. So I'm going to have to write a 4th equation. And in this 4th equation, what's my relationship between a and b? Has to add up to, remember, here's a. It has to add up to h. A plus b has to add up to h. And we know that h is 10 and 2/3, right? We already found that. So a plus b equals 10 and 2/3. So now we have a true system of equations. A and b are my two variables, and I have two equations. So we have a few different options we can try here. All of them are just a wee bit ugly, I'll be honest with that. So I'm gonna set this up in the way that we're used to seeing them. So a plus b equals 10 and 2/3, and 3a plus 1.5b equals 22. I'm going to multiply this top equation by a negative 1.5. Why would I do that? We're going back to like last December, Tate. Yeah. So now, yeah, we're going to multiply 1.5 times a. Negative 1.5 times a is a negative 1.5a. Negative 1.5 times b is a negative 1.5b. Notice the positive 1.5b, negative 1.5b. Negative 1.5 times 10 and 2/3 is 16, correct? Negative 16. So I have this right now that I'm working with. So this is where we added down the columns. What is 3a plus a negative 1.5a? 3 minus 1.5 is 1.5a. What's 1.5b and a negative 1.5b? They cancel out. They're gone. Positive 1.5, negative 1.5 makes 0. 22 and negative 16 makes 6. 22 and negative 16, right? So we have to divide by 1.5. Gives us a equals 4. So now we've got some backtracking to do. If I scroll up here quick, a equals 4. Okay, all right. I'm going to go back down for a second. If a equals 4, a plus b is 10 and 2/3. So if I put 4 in here for a, I subtract 4, b must equal 6 and 2/3. I'm seeing the full sign coming on across your forehead, Tate. You doing okay? The full side.
Yeah.
So I'll scroll back up here for a second. B then is 6 and 2/3. Now A and B don't matter, but they do have to add up to that 10'8", which is h, which they do here. But we have to have A and B because A and B are going to allow us to find x and y. We had this equation right here that says x is equal to 3a. Or 3a equals x. Now that if we know that a equals 4, x is equal to 3 times 4, or 12. So if x is 12 feet, we go up here. X is 12 feet. Y then better be 16 and 12 is 28. That better be 10 feet, correct? Add up to 38. Let's double check it though. Here we say y is 1.5 times b. So y equals 1.5 times b is 6 and 2/3. 1.5 times 6 and 2/3 is 10 feet. So y is 10 feet. Are we having fun yet?
Oh yeah.
Ready for another one? Bring it on, all right? So here we're asked to find, once again, X and H. This, by the way, is what's called a porch truss. It's set up like this. You've seen a lot of houses where they frame that porch up into the roof like that. They actually build trusses that have that all framed into it. Makes life a little bit easier on you. So, looking to solve for X and H. Again, I'm going to make life easier on myself, and I'm going to define Y here. Because I know it's coming after that last example, I'm going to draw this in, and I'm going to call this piece A. I'm going to draw this in, and I'm going to call this piece here B. And of course, I know this piece right here is what? That's my Y again, right? Now, before I do anything, I'm going to find H because I can. How do I find H? We got 12 slope, 14 foot here. This is H. So 12 over 12, not A, but H, right? 14. So if I cross multiply and divide, H is 14 feet. That wasn't so bad. So now we find our systems. I'm going to write equation 1 and what we called equation 4 last time right away. Equation 1, x plus y plus 14 equals 36. Otherwise known, if I subtract the 14, x plus y equals 22. For number 4, I have a plus b equals h, otherwise known as a plus b equals 14. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace x and y over here with a and b so I can solve a and b. Or I could replace a and b over here with x and y so I can solve for x and y. Do I really want to know a and b? No, I want to know x. I've already found h. I don't even really want to know y. I want to find x. But it makes more sense to find x and y than it does a and b. The last time I found a and b and then I had to go through all that stuff to find x and y, which wasn't a whole lot. I was just plugging it into the formula and multiplying it. But it would make more sense to solve for a and b, or solve for x and y than it would for a and b. So anyway, I have this little triangle here. I'm going to make this equation 2. In equation 2, I am solving for, this is a, this is x, and my slope is 412. So that tells me I've got 4 over 12 equals a over x. It's okay. And we can cross multiply here. A times 12 is 12a. 4 times x is 4x. So 12a equals 4x. Last time we solved for x. This time I'm going to solve for a. So I'm going to divide by 12, which tells me that a equals 4 over 12 is 1/3 x. That's going to be very important in just a second. To find equation number 3, I'm going to look at this triangle up here. That triangle has a 12-12 slope. This is b and this is y. So I have 12 over 12 equals b over y. And as I cross multiply here, b times 12, 12b. 12 times y, 12y. Now I said I'm going to solve for the b this time, solve for a and b, so I'm going to solve for b by dividing by 12. B is equal to, well, 12 divided by 12 is 1, so b is equal to 1y, or b is equal to y. So those two pieces are important. I'm going to go back up here to my equation number 4. It said a plus b equals 14. And I'm going to replace a with 1/3 y, 1/3 x. And b with y. So 1/3 x plus y equals 14. You'll also remember I had equation 1 over here, which was x plus y equals 22. That's right here. The 14 was already there. We just replaced a and b with the equivalent x and y. So what we have now with these two is we have a system of equations. Say yay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this one here times a -1. Why am I going to do that? Well, this equation here is just x plus y equals 22. This one here, after I multiply by -1, -1 times 1/3 x is -1/3 x. -1 times y is a -y, -1y. And then -1 times 14 is a -14. Remember, we needed to get one of the variables to disappear. Right now, will one of our variables disappear? Yes, the y will. So I've got x and a -1/3. What's 1 plus -1/3? That'd be 2/3 x. Y and -y cancels out. 22 and -14 is 8. So to find x, I'm going to divide by 2/3. So x equals 8 divided by 2/3 would be 12. Now, because I solved it that way this time, instead of solving for a and b and then having to subtract 2, I can go up here and say, hey, x equals 12. We're all done. What do you think? In your packet, you should now feel absolutely and completely confident doing problems 67 through 78. Problem number 79 is extra credit. It is worth up to 20 points, but here's the catch. To get any points, you must have all the pieces correct. Just call me Todd in the classroom. Number 79 is a different take on the dual slope truss. You're dealing with a top chord slope and a bottom chord slope, and you have to figure out where they come together. Okay, so on Thursday, we're going to look at ones like number 71 where we have a heel height put in there.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
On Thursday, we're going to look at ones like number 71 where there's a heel height put into it. You got to have a little fun.
Yeah, just a little bit.
So when you're doing this one, number 71 is one you can skip 71 if you want to. And I did the first couple, 67 and 68, I actually gave you one of the two spans, either X or Y. So those actually shouldn't be that tough. 69 and 70 are like the ones we did here, the dual slope ones we did. By Friday, you'll be an expert. That's good because by Friday, you'll be taking a quiz. Okay, I'll let you guys have the last 12 minutes here to get started.